You did everything right. You moved your opponent, you made him run, you forced a shorter ball. So you have this juicy mid-court forehand ball, and then this happens. So mid-court forehand, I define when you have your feet well inside the baseline and it sits more in the middle. Yes, it can veer off over to your left a little bit if you're a right-hander, because you do want to try to take forehands there, but it's not as fast and it sits up a little bit. One of the biggest reasons why people miss these mid-court forehands is they're just way too greedy. Can you be more aggressive when you have those balls? Should you be more aggressive? Absolutely. But it doesn't mean that you have to win the point outright, and it certainly doesn't mean that you have to win it by hitting the ball with Mach 500. The aggression of the ball does not necessarily come from how hard you hit it. The aggression comes from your court positioning, because you take the ball so much further inside the court and so much sooner. And you know that most of the balls that you are getting in this shorter area are a result of you pushing your opponent off the court. So you have a very open side of the court. There's no reason why you should be over-hitting that ball when you already hurt them that much. One of the things that I hear a lot, players, coaches both, say that the closer you are at net, the more you can flatten out the ball. If we're talking about not letting the racket head drop as low and giving the ball as much shape as when you're back behind the baseline, I do agree with that. However, if we're interpreting that as hitting straight down on the ball and having no rotation on the ball, I don't agree with that at all. If you're looking here at Iga's forehand, you can clearly see that she's attacking the ball well inside the baseline, but she's doing anything but hitting it flat with no spin. The racket head is below the ball, comes up and forward, and you actually see the rotation on the ball very clearly. So let's talk about the execution. The balls that I'm talking about, the mid-court, crushers, winner attempts, whatever you call them, usually sit up a little higher. And what you want to work on is still getting a loop. You still want your racket face over your hand, but you're not letting the entire racket drop as low. But you're still letting the racket head drop below your hand and below the incoming ball. You're still brushing up and forward to your contact point, and you do that aggressively. That is where the aggression comes from, your court positioning, and most importantly, your legs. Most of the time you will want to use a semi-open stance because it's easiest to actually dip down really low, get energy from your outside leg, and by outside leg I mean the leg that's closest to your forehand, dipping down here, pushing into the ground and actually coming up. That is where the pop comes from. Here's 2 drills that will help you to adjust the loop that you still want and also to really accelerate. One way to work on this, making space, creating space for your forehand and getting around the ball, is that simply somebody's tossing these balls. And you want to make sure that you're creating as much space that you're coming around the ball, but you also have the time and the room to move into the direction that you're sending the ball. If you don't have to cover as much ground to set up your forehand, so meaning that the ball comes fairly straight at you, sits in the middle, it's good enough to just turn. And you want to actively use your upper body, your offhand here, to bring the shoulder and the hip around. However, if you are looking for forehands more on the ad side, the drop step is a great way to get into position because you're grabbing a whole lot of room here and it allows you to quickly set up. Let's talk about targets here real quick. Because you're so far inside the court, you have less room to hit into. So make sure that you give yourself really good targets. 2 yards in and 3, 4, 5 yards inside the court if you want to go through the court. Another thing that you can exploit with those mid-court forehands is that the closer you come in the net, the more you can open the court, and that means the area that your opponent has to cover becomes bigger. So you want to exploit angles. So instead of trying to hit through the court with Mach 500, see if you can open the court here and you're deliberately actually aiming a little shorter, but you're trying to make the ball bounce in this area so that it cuts the single side line before it passes the baseline, and making your opponents run even more. And of course, you can do the exact same thing on the deuce court. And when you're hitting those mid-court forehands, don't stop playing. If you see your opponent being pulled out wide, close in. You might have an easy put away volley or an even shorter forehand that you can then put away. If you like this video and you want more videos and exclusive videos, check out my Patreon membership. For as little as $5, you're getting early access, more videos, and if you upgrade to Grand Slam level, you're also joining a monthly video call. And there's lots of other perks with the membership. So check out my Patreon membership.